Alright guys, welcome back to another video of Math Simplified. Today we'll be solving one-step and two-step equations. Okay, so solving one-step equations. So when we solve one-step equations, we have two different properties of equality. The first one is subtracting, and the second one is adding property of equality. So when subtracting property of equality, what we have to do is subtract the same number from both sides of an equation and keep the equation balanced. So for example here, in this case, we're trying to solve for x, right? So how do we do that? Well, we would have to isolate it. So in order to isolate, we move this number to like, the other side of the equation. So to do that, we would have to cancel this number in the left side of the equation since it's in the left side of the equation. So how do we do that? So since this is positive 3, we do the opposite of positive, which is negative, and we keep the same value. So instead of positive 3, now it'll be negative 3, and those two would cancel out. And according to the subtracting property of equality, we gotta keep the equation balanced. So afterwards, whatever we do to the left, we also have to do to the right. So now we subtract 7 minus 3, and that would give us x equals 4. So we were able to isolate the x. All right, next, next property of equality is adding property of equality. So it's just adding the same number to both sides of an equation keeps the equation balanced. So essentially, it's just the opposite of subtracting. What we do here is the opposite of negative, which is positive, and then we keep the same value, which is 4 here, because we're also trying to isolate the x in this case. So if we add 4 to the left side, we also have to add 4 on the right side of the equation. So these two would cancel out, and then 6 plus 4 would equals 10. So our solution would be x equals 10. All right, now we have solving two-step equations. So steps are to undo addition or subtraction, and then second step is undo multiplication or division. Okay, so here in this case, we have an example which is 3x minus 7 equals 14. So what we do here, since we have a negative sign, what we'll do is the opposite, which is positive. So positive 7, and then whatever we do to the left side, we also have to do to the right side, okay? So we would add here. And what property would this be? Well, this property, remember, it would be adding property of equality. Adding, adding property, okay? So afterwards, we now have, we added 14 plus 7, which gives us 21. And then now we have this, like this equation, 3x equals 21. So in order to isolate the x, we would divide by 3 on both sides of the equation. The reason why is because here we have 3x. Well, 3x is essentially the same thing as multiplying 3 times x. So to undo the multiplication, we would have to divide, okay? So then those two would cancel out. Okay, so if we have to divide by 3, we divide by 3 here. Both 3's will cancel out. And whatever we do to the left side, we also do to the right side. So we're also dividing by 3 on the right side. So now we have x by itself, like over here in this case. And now we have to divide 21 by 3. So 21 by 3 equals 7. So this is our solution. Our solution would be x equals 7. So now we have here other examples. So we have 3x plus 14 plus 4 equals 19. So the first step here is to subtract by 4 because we have to undo the numbers here. And then whatever we do to the left side, we also have to do to the right side. So we also subtract by 4. So now our equation would be 3x equals 15. So in order to undo the multiplication that we have here in the 3x, because we're trying to isolate the x, we divide by 3. And if we divide by 3 on the left side, we also divide by 3 on the right side. So these two would cancel out. So now we have x by itself. And now we have 15 divided by 3, which equals 5. So then our solution here to be x equals 5. Okay? All right, so now we have 5 minus 2y equals negative 7. So the first step here is to subtract by 5. The reason why is because this 5 doesn't have a variable, while this one does. The first thing we always do is to cancel out the one that doesn't have a variable. So that's why we cancel out 5 first. So the opposite, when you don't see a sign here, that means that's positive, okay? Just in case, so you guys know that. So we have positive 5 here, and we're trying to cancel out the positive 5, but we do subtract by 5. So we subtract by 5 on the left side, we also subtract by 5 on the right side. Now our equation, these two would cancel out. So now our equation would be negative 2y equals to negative 12. So to cancel out the multiplication that we got going on here in the negative 2y, what we do is divide by negative 2. And if we divide by negative 2 on the left side, well, we also divide by negative 2 on the right side. So now these two would cancel out, and we have y by itself. And now we divide negative 2 on the right side as well. So negative 12 divided by negative 2. Well, our answer to that would be y equals 6. So yes, our solution in this equation. So now we have another example here, which is negative 8 plus z equals z divided by 5. So the first thing we do is add by 8. So these two would add, these would cancel out. And then we also add by 8 on the right side. So our solution will now be our equation will now be z divided by 5 equals to 12 because these two added. So in order to like cancel like the 5 that we got under, you notice that here we have a division. So now in order to cancel that division, we will multiply. This is the multiplication sign, by the way, so you guys know that. So we will multiply by 5 to cancel these two out, okay? Like just think of this as 5 over 1. So then we can cancel these out. And then we would have the z by itself over here. And then if we multiply by 5, in this case here, we also gotta multiply by 5 on the right side. So now z would equal to 60 because we multiply 12 times 5, which gives us 60. So that's our solution there. Okay, so now we have a practice here. So our first example is 3x equals 12. So what we have to do essentially is to cancel out the multiplication. And so we divide by 3, so then these two cancel out. We also divide by 3 on the right side. And then our answer would be x equals 4. Okay, now we have y equals negative 3. Be careful here. Like in this case, this is already our solution because let's say the y had a negative, what we'd have to do is cancel the negative because a variable, when we're trying to find the solution of a variable, it cannot have a negative sign. It cannot have that, okay? So yeah, this is already our solution since it doesn't have a negative sign, the y. Okay, so now we have 2m plus 5 equals to 9. So what would we do here? So first thing is to cancel out the one that doesn't have a variable. So we would divide by 5, subtract by 5, and we also subtract by 5 on the right side. Then we have 2m equals to 4. And now we gotta cancel the multiplication. So we divide by 2, these two cancel out. We also divide by 2 here, and our solution would be m equals to 2. Next equation, so our next equation is negative k minus 7 equals 13. Okay, so first thing we do is cancel the positive set, the negative 7. So we'll just add by 7 to cancel these out. We also add by 7 here. And now we have negative k equals to 20. So you might think that this is our final answer, right? Well, it's not our final answer since the k has a negative sign. Remember, I already told you that you cannot have a negative sign like for a solution. Oh, when you have a variable. So we would have to divide by negative to cancel these two out. And we'd also divide by negative here. And then our solution would now be k equals negative 20. Essentially, we're just moving this negative sign to the right side. And then we just like bring the positive sign to the left side. Okay, so hopefully you guys don't get confused by that. Okay, so now we have common mistakes to avoid when we're like solving these solutions, okay? Like solving these equations. The first thing is like adding or subtracting from only one side of the equation. Remember, I've been telling you since the beginning of this video that you gotta do it on both sides of the equation. So if you add on one side of the equation in order to balance it out, you would also have to add on the other side of the equation. So essentially both on the left and the right side. Mixing up the order of operations. Remember, we gotta learn like I don't know, I already taught pandas in an earlier video, so you gotta know pandas in this, like in Algebra 1, okay? Then afterwards, we have sign errors, such as forgetting a negative. You can never forget a negative when you're like solving these equations. For example, 5 minus 6, you cannot say it's 1, it's -1. It completely changes the solution of the equation, okay? So yeah, that's what you gotta know for common mistakes to avoid. Okay, now we have a practice here. We have 3x plus 4 equals 16. So first thing we do, subtract by 4 to cancel the positive 4. And whatever we do to the left, we do to the right to balance it out. So then these will cancel. Then our new equation will be 3x equals 12. Then we divide by 3 to cancel the multiplication. And we also divide by 3 on the right side. And then our answer would be x equals 4, because these two cancel out, and then 12 divided by 3 would equal 4. Okay, so now we have 5y minus 8 equals -28. So cancel the -8, which would eventually be +8. This would cancel out. Then we also add 8 on the right side. Our equation will now be 5y equals -20. And then we divide by 5 to cancel multiplication that we got going on in the 5y, and we also divide by 5 on the right side. So then our solution would just essentially be y equals to -4. So these are two solutions to the two different equations we have here. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. Also, please follow my other videos since I'm like trying to help kids, understand math better and, essentially pass their algebra tests and their courses. So please subscribe and hopefully you guys understood solving one step and two-step equations. Thank you.